The Entrepreneurial Hour is a weekly radio talk show hosted by Stephanie Cates and Robert Gultz that includes local South Florida business owners, subject matter experts, and industry leaders that recognize the need to share their knowledge with other businesses to help them start and grow their business. Join us Tuesday mornings, 10:30 to 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, online at Radio Unilatina USA. Follow us on social media at #The Entrepreneurial Hour.
Good morning. Hey, Robert, how are you?
Hey, I'm here. I'm here, and we've got a great topic today.
We certainly do.
A topic that I'm going to love and adore.
You are going to behave yourself. I know you love women. I have heard that from you many times, and you tell all our guests how much you love women.
But I even love better. Step up is women in business.
That's correct.
And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So correct. I'm excited about that.
And I must say that Robert loves women. I mean, he's married and he's got a wife of how many years? You've got two beautiful daughters.
Oh,
and
gosh, 19 years.
19 years and you're involved in their lives. And so, you're surrounded. You're like my brother. He also has two daughters and a wife, and he says he's the minority. So every dog they have has to be a male.
Yeah.
He says that's the only way he can feel at least he's got a little support in the house. Or empathy, I guess.
Empathy might be definitely a plus there. So, and then we have a great person with us from Chase Roofing. I'll let you introduce.
Yes, this is Tamara Chase. Tamara Porter Chase, any of you who are wanting to look at her social media page. Tamara, I have heard of her for at least 2 years now. We have met a couple of times, yes, but it was more fleeting meeting. And it wasn't really, a formal introduction, just, hi, who are you? And we exchanged cards at a networking event. But I have been extremely impressed with your dossier, your resume, your philanthropic work that you do on behalf of many of the different you have, and the reason why you're so successful. And I was remiss, and I've been trying to get you on the show for 6 weeks now, but your schedule was so crazy. So Tamara, thank you so much for being here. Please give our listeners a little information about yourself.
Oh, well, I am so pleased to be here. Thank you for inviting me. Women in business, it's an awfully close thing to me, and been around strong women my whole life, and I couldn't be happier to be a part of it. I'm all about lifting other women up, and it's all about collaboration. Nobody gets to the top by themselves, right? And we all help each other get along the way. So along the way, I've had the opportunity to get into Chase Roofing, and that's led the opportunity to get into all sorts of other things. We have National Women in Roofing. So we have a brand new South Florida chapter down here in South Florida. This year was our first year. We're closing up our first year. And we are involved with all sorts of philanthropy stuff. So
we'll get into all of that, but that's really great. And what I like about it is it defines and it tells your mission and your vision to your team, your either internal or external team. And I really like that about what I know about you. So let me go ahead and just dive in. Robert, any questions yet?
No questions yet.
All right.
I'm working on it.
Yeah. So do me a favor and tell me about the story about Chase Roofing and how you got into power. Was it a coup? No, only
no, it was by mistake. I think my husband came from a trucking background, and they laid everybody off. And so he started working as a handyman, and just to make $100 a day type handyman labor, and super smart, and just kept learning and learning. And so the next thing you knew, we were getting into bigger projects, and I was sort of like behind the scenes handling the licensing and business stuff, just getting him really going. And then as it grew bigger, I just kept getting more involved, and the next thing you know, here we are.
Wow.
So was it originally his business, and you took it over and then made it into Chase Roofing?
Nope, it was originally a contracting company, and we we did basically contracting work mostly in Palm Beach and GC work, and then we sort of started dabbling into hurricane protection stuff. And back in the day when the shutters were the biggest thing of the world, so I was doing the hurricane protection side, and he started doing the roofing side. And after Hurricane Wilma, we just never really went back to anything but roofing. So that's sort of how we got into that. It was just by luck of how things went along.
Well, the hurricane season really that we have is quite long, and has been here, knock on wood. We in South Florida did not get hit very hard, but
Yes.
the Panhandle did, obviously.
Oh.
And this is probably one of the reasons, in Colorado, when I lived in Colorado, we have a lot of hailstorms. Now, I don't mean just like little marble size. I'm talking softball size. Yeah. And they not only destroy cars, and, I had one car totaled, but I lived there for 20 years. And in my home, I had 3 roofs in 20 years due to hail damage. So it is a roofer's paradise in certain areas of the country.
Yeah,
Do you
it's
find
interesting.
that
Like each area type, they have different problems. Some have the snow, and the roofs are designed to handle the snow not sitting on the roof too long, otherwise it'll cave. And then in other areas you have the hail, and down here we have hurricanes. So everything is about hurricanes. So we happen to do a lot of hurricane protection at the same time as roof, which sort of sets us apart. When my original license was glass and glazing, and then I just became a roofing contractor. But for the longest time we were really under my husband's license. And he was a GC and a roofer. So my part of it was the hurricane protection part. So I loved just, making the house stronger. So anything to do with mitigation inspections or anything that would improve your house during a hurricane, we sort of specialize in that. So.
What I love about hearing the whole story, as she's talking about, is that so many times when you talk about women-owned businesses, you hear the back end story, the comments that, they just did it for that 51% so they can get the benefits from. She didn't do that. And most women don't do that. Right. Most women, even if they're similar to what their husband's business was, they've taken their spouse's business to a different level. Right. And that's why they started. And that's where I'm really happy right off the bat we're talking about that aspect of it, that, he was just not just a general contractor. I don't want to, but a general contractor in the area. And then you've taken and said, okay, no, we're going to be adding on hurricane, and we're going to be doing roofing, and really built a business unto itself with Chase Roofing now. And
so I like systems, and so that's sort of how that comes along. And right, I'm a cheerleader too. So
and we definitely know that about you. And so when you go into a business like what you've gone there, it is a man's world. I would still assume the GC, the roofing, all of that.
With like the other women, even the other contracting companies that are down here, and the other roofing there's women are behind every single one of those businesses. Mm-hmm. It's a man's world because it's the man, their name's usually on it. But let me tell you, the women are really the backbone of a lot of businesses.
And a lot of times it is the backbone aspect, that back office aspect, right, where many men are really good at their trade.
Right.
They know how to fix engines. They know how to do roofs. They know how to do construction, things of that nature sometimes. But most people, and I would say it's only coming now compared to probably in the 50s, it was probably the same way, but just not brought out as much. The women really can run an office, organize, make sales, do the marketing, all that other stuff, and also do roofing and things of that nature, but never got the credit. Years ago, they were always, my wife's in the office.
She does the books.
She does the books.
I hear that a lot still.
And really,
you hear that? Huh?
Oh no, still to this day I hear it. Oh. And my husband's like, no, she doesn't do the books.
Yeah.
He was always around strong women himself. So
but if you look
the biggest supporter in the world.
You look at Chase, you got 2 very strong women working there. Mm-hmm. One on marketing and one in the office and doing sales and building all that. Really, if you didn't have those components, he'd probably still be a general contractor doing the work that he was doing and being happy at that, but not having all the great residual and business that he has now with his wife. So
when you first start out, when you first decided that you were going to move over, and by the way, just a clarification, do you do government work?
No, not yet.
So we'll introduce you to Sandy Michael McDonald. He will help you get right onto that. But we had him at our event last week, and he was talking about primes and the 25% of every contract needs to go to local people.
Yes.
So we'll help you get approved, or we'll send you on the right. Well, won't help you. I shouldn't say that. We'll put you on the right track to get approved.
Right direction.
But a 51% minority, woman-owned business is really only important if you're going to take out loans, if you're going for government contracts. And so you've really made most of your money, if I'm not mistaken, mostly through your residential, and you also have a commercial division, correct?
Yeah, commercial division is very small. We're mostly residential. We do dabble in commercial, but...
Okay. So the reason I'm asking that is along this time with you building your business as a woman, once you were established as the owner of the business and your husband was basically your partner, but he was not going to be the face of the company, what hurdles as a woman did you run into? Could you share with us?
That was interesting because there's a lot of dynamics there. There's husband and wife dynamics, and there's industry standard of what people would consider who's running the business, and a lot of the stereotypes you have to overcome. Like I said, just literally still to this day, people still assume, even though everyone that knows us knows that I'm running things, when we go to other meetings and stuff with, nationally with other roofers, it's interesting, the conversations that happen.
They don't even look at you, right? They'll go right to your husband.
They just do. And that's okay. We make, my husband's not like your typical salesperson. So he tends to, he's honest to a fault. And so he's always like looking to see what's the best situation. And so between the two of us, it really makes as a nice dynamic. So
what she's really trying to say before we go to break is that at these meetings, she's like going, honey, can you go get me some coffee?
Yeah.
I'm going to handle all this right now, big boy.
Because you were going to give away the farm.
You're going to give away the farm. I got to take care of it. No. All joking aside, we're going to take a break because we are on a time schedule here. So we'll be back in just a few moments with the Entrepreneurial Hour.
The Entrepreneurial Hour with Stephanie Cates and Robert Goltz.
International College with a campus in Miramar, Florida, is a boutique college with an applied, cutting-edge holistic education model. Business, tourism, and communication students not only develop their field intellectual skills, but also are empowered to become holistic professionals through yoga, self-empowerment, Tai Chi courses, and more. Sign up to become a holistic professional at unilatina.edu or call 954-607-43.
The Entrepreneurial Hour, shining light on the Tri-Chamber members.
Unilatina International College with campus in Miramar, Florida, is a boutique college with focus on entrepreneurship. UIC offers associate and bachelor degree programs in business, tourism, and communications and media. Associate degree students develop their business plan while studying at UIC. Dream, learn, and grow. Join now our business incubator. Learn more at unilatina.edu or call 954-607-4344.
The Entrepreneurial Hour, shining light on the Tri-Chamber members.
And we're back, and I wanted to give you guys a couple facts and figures from 2017 before we go on, because my joking aside, earlier, we'll cover that in a couple minutes, but just wanted to let you guys know, 11.6 million firms are owned by women in the United States, employing nearly 9 million people and generating 1.7 trillion in sales. That was in 2017. That's a big impact in our communities.
Well, I've got something better for you. Okay. First of all, this young lady here to my right, the owner of Chase Roofing, is the number one preferred platinum customer for Owens Corning.
That's Pink Panther.
That is.
Yes, the Pink Panther. She and her company are their number one preferred platinum customer. So it all in the entire nation. So that's amazing.
Yeah, it's a really nice.
It's a
think
huge
only 5%
award.
of roofing contractors are eligible for it, and it gives a lifetime warranty on labor and material. So that's like unheard of.
And that's because of the quality that they give the product in the installation and the management of it, so that they can give that lifetime award. If you and I slapped it up there, it'd be no lifetime, nothing. When we got off the ladder, okay. And wait a minute, let me.
Wait a minute, I wanted to see you get up on a ladder on a roof.
Yeah, me and Karina will be up there together. She'll be her heels, and I'll be not.
Yeah, I don't do heels anymore.
Yes.
Does the heels.
Yes, she does. Well, that's something you give up as you get a little more mature.
Yeah, you don't do heels.
So
I love them though.
Yeah, it's nice to wear a short period of time, and then you're like done with them.
Done.
But what I did want to say was that not only that, but she is one of the top 300 roofers nationwide. Not.
Wow.
And the drum roll.
That is very impressive.
It is impressive. The drum roll is she is in the top 10 roofing companies in the state of Florida. And number one in South Florida. So congratulations.
Absolutely.
That's why I was so impressed with her. And she's got 2 offices. So we're going to go into the next question here that I know all of. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
No, I have a bad comment, and I'll hold it off to the next section.
Yeah, you keep your.
Yeah.
Oh, so we had during our entrepreneurial hour, which honestly, Tamara was supposed to be my choice to come in and talk to our audience, but she was away, probably receiving more awards.
No, I was at a wedding.
Oh, okay. All right.
She does have a social life still.
Well, that's what I'm going to get into. So we actually, we asked Jackie and Stephen, who own Indemnity Security, how do they balance? They have 3 kids. How do they balance their home life and their work life? And one of the things that they talked about was, as a woman in the business, there's still an expectation that you have to do your job and you're supposed to do the job at home. So could you talk about how you balance with your husband and your family, as well as the 2 offices? I mean, that's like a physical difference.
Yeah, so our other office is in Tampa. And so just the dynamics of distance, you have to be a little organized. But honestly, the only way I get it done is by a lot of help.
Well,
how old are your children? It would be my first question.
My oldest is 27.
Okay.
And my youngest is 24, turning 25 next week.
Okay, yeah.
So it's not a 5 and 6 year old that we're dealing with right off the bat. But you've owned the
business for how many years?
This is our 16th year.
So for 16 years, those kids were the terror age, middle school through high school. The young ladies, right, so they're angels, even when they're home.
In middle school, I went back to college. So that was probably the roughest of balancing act.
College.
I went to college. Right, I went back to college full time at Nova, and was involved with everything because that's just me. But and my kids were gonna be in middle school, and it was a lot. It was really a lot.
I have this picture from the television shows of just picking them up by their pants and stapling them to a wall is the best way, and that's how I raised my children. So.
Yeah, that's about right.
He's got 2 wonderful daughters, despite him.
Yeah.
Yeah, boys, you're going to have some good times with a psychologist when you marry my kids. They're seriously messed up.
Oh, stop it. They are not. They are good kids. But anyway, let's move on. So your kids, did they become part of your company? Were they part of... So what we found out at the conference, and we talked about this, was team building. And there's not only just an internal team in order to manage this work-life balance, but there's a home team. So talking about your home team, when those kids were in middle school, talk to me, how did you surround yourself with your home team?
Well, I had to put the highest priorities first, and then everything else has to go in after. So
when you talk highest priorities, you're talking with me. So my highest priority is my business. My guess is when you talk highest priority, it's your family.
Well, at that time, I wasn't in the business full time. I was in the background still.
Okay.
So the priority at that time was family and getting through school. So those were my balancing act
Excellent.
at that time. And then I worked, I think I was working like 15, 20 hours a week, something around, you know what I mean?
Only.
I mean, but it was flexible and, we make it work.
Now, did you hire people at home? Did you have family local? What did you do to make sure that the kids weren't, because this happened to me with my poor daughter. She was left 2 hours outside her school because I was showing houses and I kind of forgot, and she'll never let me live that down. And I don't blame her. That was pretty traumatic. I know. I was a terrible.
Wow, you have outdone me in one radio show right there.
Yeah, I know. So listen, I hope you don't have anything like that this year. You don't have to, but I'm just saying.
My memory is foggy in there. No, just no. They were on board. They were doing their thing. They're typical middle schoolers running around doing their thing, and you just have to balance. I mean, my first inkling was to take a tackle of my time. So getting a cleaning lady was the best investment ever, because you're hiring somebody and you have how long does it take to clean a house all day? It's like,
can be, sure.
So that was probably my first thing to do. And I did hire somebody at one point to help with cook, get some food going. And that worked for a little while. So we tried different things and the kids were responsible. And
And then what about getting the kids to all their events? Because obviously it's always important that they maintain the life that you want them to have.
Right. So I did morning classes while they were in school, and then studied around things. And then
chauffeur took them here and there.
And studied in the car. And,
So mom was the chauffeur.
Yeah. Well, Dad helped a lot too. But that time he was working full time, with the business and really developing that end of it and physically doing work. So he that was really his priority. But we've always tag teamed it. There's been times I've stayed at home full time, and there's times he's stayed at home full time. So we've sort of swapped it out over the years.
I've said this on the show several times. I've got a nephew who is a Mr. Mom. My brother was Mr. Mom. And I think that it's a blessing when that can happen. I mean, when somebody's bringing in the bacon and the bills can be paid and some, and by one person being out there, I don't care if it's a man or a woman, they both can wear the shoes.
Yeah, there's been times we flopped back and forth.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's good
Whatever
that you
made
did
sense.
that. And nobody held that, I'm not going to stay at home with the kids. That's not my job. No, apparently you've got to. I have met your husband, too.
Yeah.
He seems like a sweetheart.
He is.
My husband's that way too. He was Mr. Mom in our house for many, I would say for the last 20 years, at least 16 of them. So I'm very familiar with that. So let's talk about how you've developed teams within your work, and how you've surrounded yourself internally now with your teams. Not only here, let's start with the one here in South Florida, because I'm sure that was your first team you built.
Yes.
And then how did you then, taking what you learned here, open a second location so far away?
Okay, so to me, I can only do so much in a day, and I learned from Brad Sugars at one of his conferences about leveraging, and the leveraging concept. He talked about how we all try and find somebody to basically be another us, to double us, which is impossible. So just realizing that nobody is going to be exactly you, and let them do 80% of you, and then you teach someone else to do 80% of you, and you teach someone else to do 80% of you. That right there is much, much more than you could ever accomplish at 100%. So that something about that concept just stuck, and that's when I started going, I need teams. That's really my job, is to develop teams. So we went from that point, and we do a lot of training, a lot of leadership training, constantly, providing like the skills and the place to be a better version of yourself. So each person's doing that, and then they're really running their own department, and then I'm really there in their personal cheerleader.
I like that concept. And I'm thinking, how many people could actually handle a couple 80% of Roberts out there on top of what the 100% guy I am.
But we become the raving maniacs, which is Robert sometimes, because we're so overwhelmed.
It's true.
And if you took and you gave them even 50% of your load with confidence and trust, and when it goes bad, you're like, oh, well, it might have gone bad if I was doing it too, and just like move on, then you'd be in the position that she is, growing and being able, because I don't let go. It's like, it's mine, don't take it, even though I don't want to do it.
Right. That's one of my struggles, because we know I go through employees like daily. But it's getting to that point where you find people that love love their job as much as you love the job that you've provided them.
Right. And
so my question is this: as you've been growing the business, when you opened up your Tampa office, does that have the same feel as your Weston office? In the aspect,
we hire everybody based off character.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have an office in Tampa if you don't trust them. So that's the first thing. And then the same thing for here. I can't be with everybody every second. So you really have to hire decent, good people. It was not the industry standard at all, how we run our business. The industry standard is just get out the work and beat them up and beat them up and beat them up until they finish it and they leave and they go amongst each other.
I went to that school.
Yeah. So I just strongly saw a vision. I just strongly saw a vision that you can be kind to each other and show up to work and really give an A-level game, and I just think it can work.
So let's just say you do all this, and that's perfect. I love hearing that. It's valuing your intellectual capital to a point where they feel appreciated. So what is your average tenure for an employee?
We have, I think the longest has been 6 years, and some have moved up and moved out, and some, we just started really developing like high level department heads 5-6 years ago. So all of those people have stayed on. I mean, we don't have a high turnover, but it happens.
Excellent. Well, we're going to take another break, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. And the Entrepreneurial with Stephanie Cates and Robert Goltz.
Uni Latina International College offers an English as a second language program for international students. UIC's high qualified ESL teachers help students develop and master the English speaking and comprehension skills needed for both work and pleasure. Our ESL program also focuses on cultural adaptation through fun field trips and cultural experiences. Start your journey today at unilatina.edu/ESL or call 954-607-4344.
The Entrepreneurial Hour is a weekly radio talk show hosted by Stephanie Cates and Robert Goltz that includes local South Florida business owners, subject matter experts, and industry leaders that recognize the need to share their knowledge with other businesses to help them start and grow their business. Join us Tuesday mornings, 10:30 to 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, online at Radio Unilatina USA. Follow us on social media at #The Entrepreneurial Hour. The Entrepreneurial Hour is sponsored by the Miramar Pembroke Pines Regional Chamber of Commerce, the Weston Florida Chamber of Commerce, and the Pembroke Park West Park Chamber of Commerce.
Women in business here on the Entrepreneurial Hour. And Stephanie, I'm just going to pass it right over to you because you already prepped everything for this next section. And I'll go over there and I'll make my little comments as we go.
If I worked with you, I'd be like, you'd be saying, oh my gosh, she's worse than me because I have a list for everything. I have everything planned. It's just, I drive crazy. Everybody in my, for something that I did, I go and write it on the list just to cross it off.
Yeah, during the summer, Steph was gone and she would send me all these questions for the next person that was coming in. I go, okay, yeah, all right.
He wouldn't even read them.
I would read a few.
Yes, but he wouldn't
that's the man-woman thing. It's different.
Yeah, I know. I'm married to a guy like that.
Yeah.
Some way.
So what I wanted to ask you, because it's so exciting to me to think that you opened an office and it was successful, and somehow you said, let's open in Tampa, which is 3 hours at least away by car.
It's a 30-minute flight.
And it's a 30-minute flight, but it's expensive flight. And
she's successful. a 30-minute flight. I do it every week. I just jump on the plane.
In our private plane over here at Perry Airport.
No, but
The executive center. or we go on the helicopter, it's 45.
And I get through TSA like that because I paid for that too.
Wait a minute, I do that.
I do that
Well,
too.
You guys are both more successful than I am.
Okay,
Oh,
so
God.
would you tell us how you developed that office based on the trials and tribulations of your current office?
Okay, so we did a very large project on the West Coast. We did a mall over there. And so we sent over crews and then added to those crews. So a person that was on that crew and the project ended, I didn't want to let go. So we really developed. I know it sounds like it was real strategic and everything, but it basically was, I didn't want to let go of him. His wife's family was up in Tampa, and we do some apartments, and they also had apartments up there. So it just sort of worked out, and we developed the business
Based upon somebody you liked.
because
Well, that's a strategic reason.
yes, and so, but actually, that on a micro level is really what happens in each little thing.
I know
It's
it
like you're
does.
finding things that people are good at or they enjoy, and then you figure out how that works.
So
with
is he
business.
your GM now, or is he, or what
actually-
does he do for
He's
you?
a service manager up there now.
Okay.
I brought on somebody last week, a couple years ago, and he has been going up there and handling more like that GM part in Tampa now, and so he has the credit for the last couple of years of crazy growth. But we've been up there for, I think this is our 7th or 8th year. I
Wow.
don't remember.
So how many employees do you now have up at the Tampa location?
5.
Yeah,
So
5.
we only do repairs up there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we do some re-roofs, but we bring people in for that.
Okay. When you say you bring them in, you bring them from South Florida, go up and do it?
Sometimes,
Or
or
you-
the middle of Florida and go up. We have
Okay.
relationships with,
So you subcontract.
yeah,
them.
then those would be really large projects.
Okay. Okay.
Interesting.
Well, I can see why. Now that they were hit, the West Coast was hit worse than we were in Irma.
Right.
How was that office crazy busy last year
Yes.
with repairs?
Yeah, we were actually crazy busy down here, even though we
I
didn't
know you
get to
were.
it here. But remember last year down here, we had like 6 weeks of rain or something in
Yeah.
a row without
Mhm,
any
mhm,
break.
mhm.
So we were backed up crazy from that. And then the hurricane happened. So we were crazy down here, and then up there got more of a hit. So we're still.
Well, I've been hearing through the contracting world that anything to do with roofing or outside gutter repair, anything to do outside, tree removal, tree scaping, etc. You're weeks out if you live here because most of those crews are
Right.
up trying to kind of put the panhandle in that area.
Right.
Is that true?
Yeah, it is. It's a blessing and it's a curse. We have a big hurricane down here. What will often happen is storm chasers will come down from other areas, the homeowners as well, because the homeowners don't know that they're storm chasers. They don't really know South Florida code. They get involved with things. They don't have overhead and they undercut the prices. Customers will also go with price, and then they're left after. Now they had just had a storm up there, so a lot of them will leave and go up to that. And soon we'll start getting calls for that. We gave them money and they didn't finish it. That type of thing. But
I have a story that's worse. As soon as the hail, I mean, they literally just listen for, especially Kansas, Iowa, Missouri, all of those areas surrounding there. Even Texas, they hear that they're in any of the cities together, and they're packed and they're on their way. And you'll have 5 guys in a hotel room, and the whole thing. This lady on my street went with them, and she came to me and she said, "Oh, you should have your roof done by these guys. They gave me the best price out there." And I said, "Really?" And she says, I said, "Did you pay them?" She goes, "Oh, no. They said, wait till the job." I said, "Well, at least that was good, So she didn't have to give them anything up front, which is a little surprising for me. But Anyway, she went and did that. And I called my insurance company. They gave me 3 people that were local. I went with one of them and I had my roof repaired. Well, she went about money when she had the roofing problem, even though she knew she had insurance, but she didn't want any out of pocket. And unfortunately, sometimes you do when you don't have enough coverage, which she didn't. Again, poor managed in that respect. She went to sell her house, and you can tell the story. There was no permit for the roof. The inspector came in and said it was put with substandard materials. She literally lost sale after sale because she didn't want to do anything, because the reason she was moving in with her kids was because she didn't have enough money to sustain the house. And at the end of the day, the kids had to actually take out a mini loan on the house or whatever they did, because she did own the house. She was cash poor. So they ended up taking out a loan somehow from somebody, getting the roof taken care of at a cost that was ridiculously high because it had to be quick. So it jumped the fee, and then waiting, I would say 2 months or so in order for the inspectors to come out the roof, and then a new realtor had to come out and do all the new thing. Literally lost almost 8 months from the time they needed mom to sell her house because they went with one of those storm chasers.
Yeah,
and these are the things that nobody thinks of.
And no one thinks about them, especially right after a hurricane or a major storm. And what I always laugh about, because we end up having to defend contractors a lot, is people complain about the cost. Oh, I don't need that much stuff done to my roof. Well, you live in South Florida, folks. I'm sorry. If you looked at the Panhandle video from the television stations, they weren't prepared. They did not have the same standards as we do in South Florida. And you saw, toothpicks everywhere.
Yes.
It was terrible. It was crazy. And my belief is now that when they rebuild, it's all going to be up to a different code level.
It has to be.
And that's what you see. And a lot of times businesses, and especially probably, even women-owned businesses, when you start going through that whole process saying, hey, I'm taking care of everything properly. And they're going, well, no, the guy over there said he could do it for 20% cheap. And you're like going, well, yeah, who is he? Especially in your business, because you have a lot of these walk-in competitors that come in who aren't from our area, that don't understand. Right. I end up dealing with them all the time at the chamber when I get phone calls from my businesses saying, hey, something's being held up in planning and zoning or a code enforcement. Can you help us? And we'll go, they aren't holding up doing any checks. The work hasn't been submitted yet properly. What? And it's these outside contractors that'll come in who think they can.
Some of them actually do try to do the work.
Yeah. And they just don't. They just can't keep up with the code. Our codes are very different than any other place.
After Hurricane David, they changed all of the codes. So any roof that was done before that are completely different. And
when was David?
2000.
Was that after Andrew?
Sorry, it was after Andrew. I'm sorry, not David. It was after Andrew.
Okay, I was going to say Andrew was. I want to say Andrew was in the late 1990s.
Yeah, you're right. It was
and
David.
If I remember correctly, Miami-Dade has changed. Miami-Dade, something about trailer homes and prefabbed homes having to have different standards, have to be anchored differently if you even have them. Some areas, some cities won't even allow the prefabs or trailer homes or those kinds of things anymore. So because of all the devastation, those things get pulled up and flown down the street.
It's when we drive around and, just travel, it's amazing when you see construction going on, how different it is down here. Yeah. Any storm's going to come and knock them over,
Yeah, I know. When my grandparents came and they bought their home in in 1970, they bought their home in Vero Beach. It was all cinder block and steel. And it was only $30,000, I know, back then. And I think they sold it for like $125,000 about 10 years ago or something, But what I was saying is that the whole thing was made with cinder block. And I don't know when we stopped doing cinder block construction down here, but I'm in a townhome in Weston, and it's cinder block and steel. And I'm not the end unit. I'm the middle one, but these have been around since 89. They've gone through a bevy, including Andrew, Wilma, Irma, all these ones that they've gone through. And really, knock on wood, we've had no issues. So I don't understand why we are now, everybody's building wood houses down here. It just seems to me that Dorothy's going to go flying one of these days in one of those wood houses. Sorry. And then end up in Oz.
Because they're not as pretty. The strongest houses down here are the apartments that are concrete all the way around, and they're square and boring looking.
Yeah.
But that's where you want to go in a hurricane.
Yes, I do. I know everybody that I know everybody in Weston that has one of those houses come to our little condos at townhomes because nothing's going to happen to those babies.
They're concrete.
Folks, I'm watching Stephanie now look at all her notes to see what next question she's going to ask.
Yeah, we already touched on it. So talk about, I wanted to ask you about your award. And I know you've won a lot of other awards. The one with Corning. Why was that so special for your company to get? What is it that they based that award on for you?
The Owens Corning Platinum. It's special because they track you for years. I think every year we were trying to get with them. I mean, Owens Shingle, and they just offer the best service and the best colors. So we were just really trying to get that it's just the best warranty. So that's really what makes us stand apart.
And what did you have to do to get that award?
It was really my husband who got us.
Of course. And I'm glad that you recognized him.
He did. He worked on that forever. And Ed Palco's our local rep, and they've just been working together. He's worked with us for years, so he sees the type of work we do, and we've been committed to them for a long time. And I mean, we can install any shingle. I just prefer that one. So,
okay.
So the purpose of that warranty is you get a lifetime warranty for labor and material. So the benefits to a homeowner is really what stands us out.
So they can go down the road and buy that same Corning Owen from someone else, but not have the same warranty that you have?
Exactly. So they could get a lifetime.
That in itself is a reason to call Chase Roofing.
Yeah, you could get a lifetime on the material, but not the labor. So they actually back up the labor as well.
Which the labor is your husband and the team of people, the specialists that you have. That's phenomenal.
Folks, we're going to take our last break. We're talking about women in business and specifically roofing today. It seems a lot more of, but we'll be right back in just a few minutes.
The Entrepreneurial Hour, shining light on the Tri-Chamber members. The Entrepreneurial Hour, shining light on the Tri-Chamber members. The Entrepreneurial Hour, shining light on the Tri-Chamber members.
Uni Latina International College offers an English as a second language program for international students. UIC's high qualified ESL teachers help students develop and master the English speaking and comprehension skills needed for both work and pleasure. Our ESL program also focuses on cultural adaptation through fun field trips and cultural experiences. Start your journey today at unilatina.edu/ESL or call 954-607-4344.
The Entrepreneurial Hour is sponsored by the Miramar Pembroke Pines Regional Chamber of Commerce, the Weston Florida Chamber of Commerce, and the Pembroke Park West Park Chamber of Commerce.
This has been a roller coaster emotion for me today. I had gone from at the beginning wanting to have a sugar mama that could fly me over to Tampa, and then she ends up dropping the ball on the last section that her husband does most of the work. And so, again, we're talking about women in business and having so much fun.
Folks, I'm so sorry.
So, before we go on, I had a question.
Yeah.
What do you think is the hardest part of being a woman in business, especially in the industry that you're in? What was the hardest part of all that? And what is probably a misconception that most have?
The hardest part is just being a woman. It's really that simple. It's the comments that are made. It's the assumptions that women aren't in it.
But
I
you
don't
remember,
know.
Zoom is
Yes.
out of you and me.
So
Right.
we ignore a lot of it, but if you were to just take a comment somebody were to say and you were to replace it with the man and the woman and it sounds stupid, then it's probably a stupid comment. So I've had people say things like, just not long ago, someone said to me, how do you handle running this business? Did your husband let you do that? And I just couldn't imagine going up to a man who owned a business and asking that same question. So like literally it's those kind of comments that are just probably the hardest.
My wife lets me do this just to let you all know. I do have that. Okay. So and a normal day, I'm just throwing this out there. On a normal day, I know that you and Karina are out there. So is it hard going out to one of the sites and just the cat calls going off by your own staff and stuff like that? That's not happening?
Never.
Again, let's reel them in here. Yeah.
No, they don't do that.
I would expect it from the husband at least.
If you're watching us on YouTube here, we have a lovely, beautiful woman.
Absolutely.
With pink hair
Yes.
today. She says that she's been going pink for a little while. So, and she's very, very pretty lady. And Karina, who we speak to, is Flower Power.
Yeah, she's a
vibrant redhead. A sister from another mother for me, and we've known each other for a long time.
Yes.
Robert knows her very well too.
Absolutely.
And so these two women say, we put the glamour back in roofing. And so she says, I don't wear my, she said, I went up for a picture one time and that was it.
Yes,
how about you? Did you take a picture one time and that was it also?
I don't like the roof. I really don't. I don't like heights.
Uh-huh.
See, the thing is, where we always talk about people in their industry always don't take care of their own aspect. My guess is she's a roofer, but yes, she doesn't go on roofs.
Mm-hmm.
But how many
business people actually own a business that they trust their team to do the job and they do?
We have drones and we have cameras and we have pictures and we have inspectors.
See, now she's talking all the fun things she has again. I am just removing myself from that conversation.
We'll just have to get you a drone one of these days, Robert.
But this was what
maybe one day I'll get over my heights and I'll get over.
This was the one thing I want to go back to, and Stephanie, I'm going to hand it over to you. Not only women-owned business,
right,
in a man's world,
correct,
they take care of their community at the same time. And I'm going to pass that over to you.
Yes. One of the things that I was really intrigued with is your vision that you have on your website. And I'm going to read it verbatim. It says, we pride ourselves on building amazing relationships with our customers while taking care of all their roofing, repair, maintenance, and installation needs. But it goes well beyond that. I know your customers are like lifetime customers and they're raving fans, which we've talked about being how do you create raving fans? Well, doing exactly what you do. But you step into something which is the nonprofit world, and your whole company is behind you 100% with your philanthropic endeavors with nonprofits. Please talk to us about that and how it has benefited your team as well as your company.
I grew up volunteering. My family's always done it. Started in church when I was this big and haven't stopped since. So I feel like I get more out of giving back than giving back. I mean, it's just a wonderful feeling. We have so many things cool going on now right now. We actually have an event tonight. I started a nonprofit called Emerge, and it's the Emerge movement with teenage girls and girls in their 20s. And we do everything from teach them leadership skills to business to how to interact without being on social media every second. Whoa. And how to be the CEO.
Wait.
You've got two daughters here.
Without being on social media every second, we've got YouTube on our own here, but she's also got her Facebook Live going right now. The first person that we've had in here.
There's a time and a place for it.
Oh, okay.
There is.
Yes, there is. And I agree. on our panel last week of networking, I remember Sandy Michael McDonald said, you're never going to sell something. It wasn't it. And I think you reiterated as well. You're never going to sell something, by sending somebody an email or Twittering or Facebooking or social media. You're not going to hire somebody to do something until you get in front of them and you know them. And I think our millenniums and even our X and Y, it makes them feel safe and comfy. So let me stay behind my phone, my computer, and I'm going to do it that way. But I
encourage them to get out a little.
Exactly. Well, but that's only part of. You also are big in the cancer research.
Yeah.
Is that
so
correct?
My husband's a cancer survivor, and 2014, when he found out, he was actually training for the ride, and so we paused that and got through a year of hell, and then came back and we joined another team.
Team for what?
It's the Dolphin Cancer Challenge.
Dolphin meaning Dolphin football?
Miami Dolphins, right? And so they do a huge event. I don't remember how many years. I think this is their 7th or 8th. I don't remember. We've been involved with it for the last couple of years. So they sponsor a zillion things so that 100% of the money that's raised goes towards Sylvester cancer research right down in Miami, and doing research for all types of cancer. So we sort of got involved with that. The first year we had 7 people and raised $10,000 on our little team.
Oh my God.
And the feeling that you have when you ride through that tunnel at the end is just amazing. And I was like, everyone has to do this. So
when you say ride, you were bikers?
So you can do 5K or you can ride. So they do everything from 14 miles all the way to 100 miles. So there's different ones you can sign up for. They all end at the Dolphin Stadium.
I'm just so happy that she clarified it was the Miami Dolphins, because I know you were thinking Flipper for a little while there, Stephanie.
We're all going to get out there and swim.
just for our younger viewers, Flipper was an old television show way back.
Anyway,
before me, before my time.
Yes.
So anyway, this year we have another team. This is our. We did 10,000 the first year, 20,000 the second year with. How many? We had 27 people the second year, and last year we had 67 people. So this year we're rooting for 100, and we've already raised
my husband has already
$60,000.
signed up, and so he's I said, you sign me up too? He goes, no, this is something I want to do, and I'm okay. So he signed up.
You can be a virtual rider if you want.
No, I actually am the rider. From the two of us, I am the rider. But he wanted to do it. He went to an event where they were talking about it, what Karina's event, and he signed up last month. So he is getting himself in shape right now, which is very good. Yeah, I like the in shape, Dave.
No comment.
So we have 5 minutes left, and then we're going to want you to introduce to our audience your name, where you're from, how they can get a hold of you. And I have one. Go ahead. You want to finish?
Well, I just wanted to also reiterate the women's roofing group. Also, if I heard correctly, was a brainchild of yours also.
That really, I just wanted to get it going. There was already a national council, and there was nothing down here in South Florida. So somebody presented to me, do I want to help get that going down here? And I just ran with it. It's
well, the reason why I bring it up is because it's so important. At the Chamber, we have a women in business group. And the one thing that we really work on is trying to help other people, other women, understand the glass ceilings that can be broken. And that's really, I always whenever we're looking at some kind of event, I'm always going, hey, we're breaking the glass slipper and stuff like that, trying to get that mindset changed, that there are people out there that have already succeeded.
Right.
And if you look at those models, instead of going around, and this is where sometimes men like myself have the issue, where we'll sit in a business thing and it's always the, oh, this, oh, that, it's hard. And it's not, you know what? I have no compassion for that because I've seen so many strong women break so many barriers out there that to me it's like, oh no, you just have to put your mind to it.
We do have a long way to go though. I want you to look up how many women are CEOs of Fortune 500 companies.
Very few. I was going to bring up
that blows my mind.
Well, Cheryl Sandberg's book, Lean In, it really brings it down. But, we also have to look, and this is where we'll probably end up talking about, is that as a woman, you need to make the decision are you going to juggle just your job and move ahead? Is that going to be your priority? Or was it your priority right out of college, and then all of a sudden you met someone and now the priority has changed? And say to yourself, that's okay. I'll get back into it later, and allow yourself to do that. And then we as a society have to say it's okay that a woman wants to raise her kids and stay home. Or if you want to go to work, then be the best damn worker you can be, and be aggressive in the world you're at. That's
and don't
all I
feel
can
sorry
say.
for it.
Exactly.
Yeah, don't feel like, oh, but I hear whiny men too. That don't like their jobs. I hear more, probably 2 to 1, because women are afraid to say that they're whiny. Well, you are. Let me ask you, if we have any women out there, and I was going to ask you to give advice, but if we get some women, you can go to Unilatina and send some questions in, and we will get them to our speaker, Tamara, today. If someone has a question about how, or questions about mentoring, or questions about how you did things, would you be willing to answer those questions to our via email? Okay.
Love it.
So, we're going to be ending our show now, but I would thank you so much for being here. And would you let our audience know how you can be reached?
Okay. I can be reached on social media, on Facebook. So Tamara Porter Chase is my handle. And also on Instagram. So I'm under Tamara Chase. And the couple businesses I have, you can find me on those as well.
So tell them again the business and how a phone number they can reach you if they have any roofing needs.
Okay, Chase Roofing, and the main phone number is 954-680-8588.
And the website?
chaseroofing.com.
Excellent. Any words of wisdom for potential people, entrepreneurs that are women?
Set your vision, break down the goals, and go for it.
I like that.
That's quick and dirty. Right, done.
Yep, we are done. So high five. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Robert, up there?
All right. Yep. That's as close as Stephanie and I get.
Yeah.
Folks, you've been with us on the Entrepreneur Hour again this Tuesday morning. Catch us next week as we'll come back again as we do every Tuesday from 10:30 to 11:30 right here just for you on the Entrepreneur Hour with Stephanie Cates and Robert Goltz. Thank you. See you later.
The Entrepreneurial Hour, shining light on the Tri-Chamber members.
USA with Radio Unilatina.